everybody, and welcome to another episode of Allegedly Credible. I'm Danielle, aka Lady Faye, and this is
Mel, aka Mel Supremo.
And as you guys should know by now, we're just two friends. We're giving you our advice based on our life experiences and things that we're going through so far. So, as I always say, we give this disclaimer: our thoughts and views are constantly evolving, and we are not experts, nor do we claim to be, but we will have experts on the show. And we won't always agree with each other. That's okay. We're just hoping you guys take what you need, whatever you don't need, throw out, give it to whoever you want to do. So today, we're going to be talking about the blessings and curses of being creative. We have a special guest in the house, my cousin, Gene. I'm going to let him introduce himself, all right?
Yo, hi. So I'm Gene Stovall, also known as Gene Pool, also known as Gene Stovall X Gene Pool. That's my new stage name.
All right.
Yeah, the struggles of being a creative.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's it's like weird because it's like I said, it's like a blessing and a curse. It's like sometimes it's like it's exciting when you're creating, but then at the same time, it's also like, man, I feel like you're your toughest critic.
Before we get into that, like, we gotta see the credentials. What makes the infamous Gene Stovall so credible to be on our show?
Word. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. First and foremost, I'm a 45-year-old performing artist. I've been rocking so I've been doing stage stuff consistently since 1989 when I was in 7th grade. So I probably rocked longer on a more consistent basis than any other artist I know, including the famous people. And I've always been in the same place. I've just been walking around in the same circle for 30 years of performing, 30 plus years. I don't even know how long it's been, but I don't know if that makes me credible or what it is, but it's just a fact. And I'm not saying, I'm not saying that I'm like, I don't know, man. I think I'm a good person, a good artist to interview for this topic or any topic really.
Yeah, because even though you're very skilled and you have the experience for all these years, so that's what makes you an expert.
I just feel like an old like
you're a wise sage in the creative aspect.
Like I feel like I've lived a long time, but I also feel like I have the same energy that I did when I was like 22. You know what I mean? Like I do the same stage stuff, you know what I mean? Like, dancing and just I do this vocal acrobatic stuff where it's like it's a combination between like vocal jazz scatting and onomatopoeia. It's like what Rozelle does, and Scratch for the Roots. Like them mixed in with like Bobby McFerrin or that dude from Police Academy that did all the
yeah.
Right. So
I'm not really that good at it though, but I am a guy that does it, You know
what though? I think you're good at it for you. Like, if that makes any sense. Like, I always feel like that. I tell people that, like, you're good at it for you. Like, and I was gonna say also, like, what made you decide like you wanted to get into music? What was your drive to do that?
This is real talk. All right. The house that your mom grew up in is the house that I grew up in. Okay. And they all made a decision to get cable television when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And with them getting cable, and we only had one TV really in the house, we was all I was watching what they was watching. So all the Sesame Street stuff became watching other stuff. And a lot of that stuff was MTV for me. And so I ended up watching a lot of MTV, and then I wanted to watch it. And then by the time BET started, VH1, all the video channels, I just really wanted to watch videos over kids shows.
Right.
So I made a decision like around the time of kindergarten that this was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a singer. I found out that my dad was my father he's an actor. And at the time he was doing television stuff. Like he was on a show called The Doctors, and then he ended up doing a show called As the World Turns. So to know that my dad was on TV, and I'm like, all right, well then it's in my blood to be
in my DNA.
Do this. So this is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
And I'm going to the grave doing it. And if I'm not good at it, I don't care. And if people like it, awesome. And if they don't like it, I have to be okay with that, even though it hurts. But you know, whatever. You know, I can't stop. I've been on this journey for life, and now I finally know how to produce music. I finally know how to mix it. I took all this time trying to learn how to play piano and guitar, rap, do this vocal Bobby McFerrin onomatopoeia shit, and then like, you know what I mean, just all this whatever, you know what I mean, like trying to get good at something. And then every time somebody was in my lane and I felt like there's too many people in this lane, I try to do something different, you know. As the years go by, you start adding all of these different micro identities, like it's almost like you're taking a piece of all these different artists that you like and you're adding them to your artistry. So that way you can have this bag of resources.
There are a few factors that got me into music. My dad would play all different types of music. So that's why I got really used to listening to different things. And then my mom would play her gospel music and Earth, Wind, and Fire, all that stuff. But one thing I always remember, I will never forget, is being up in Gene's room at grandma's house with him on his guitar, or just him. He introduced me to so many different music, like different types of music. And as you said, MTV, The Box, like all that other stuff. Like,
yep. Talk about it.
And
I mean, look, here's the thing too. Your dad worked at PCTV, right? Pittsburgh Public Access. Now, this is very important. Like, a lot of people don't understand how cool your parents are. Okay, like there's these two hyper intellectual pop culture people,
right?
Do you know what I mean? Right. Who know, like, if you bring up your dad's name around the people who are doing TV shows, like any public access stuff, they know him. He produced all of their shows, or he had a hand in making those shows happen. So yeah, like I remember like the Underground Hip Hop magazine, you know, like that show, right? He helped produce that, and he, you know, he would oversee episodes, you know, whatever. He was like the man down at PCTV. So I remember when like I was in high school and I ended up going to Whammo for like a little guest spot because I met one of the VJs, Albie Silk, and he was like, "Yo, you should come on down." And I ended up, you know, being in communications anyway at Duquesne. So I was like, "Oh, okay." So this was like a launching point a little bit, you know, him looking out, letting me come down the station and just hang out and just see how it's done. And I remember I did an interview. I helped him interview a rap group called Misfits in the Attic. And your dad gave me a video. He gave me a VHS tape that had all their videos on it, so that way I could get a head start on the interview process with them.
I didn't even know that. When you are creating, like, what kind of creative do you think you are? Like, do you feel like you create more when you're happy? Do you feel like you create more when you're sad? Or it's like a combination, like, of both?
You used to be sadness. It used to be the extreme happiness and extreme sadness. Sometimes I'll just force myself into being sad, but then sometimes life would just throw sad curveballs. When life would just start to throw sad curveballs your way. And when that happens, then it's just like, all right, what am I going to do? You know, if you're an artist, then you make your art. I think that it don't even matter what you're living through. If you're an artist, you're going to find a way to make art out of it because it's fun to you, A. B, it's all you know how to do. It's all you want to do. You know what I mean? Like even if I said, nah, I retire, I'm not going to make art anymore. The minute that I say that, I'm already making art, like doing like in some other way. You know what I mean? Because that's what we do.
I agree with that. You
can't help yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that because there's so many times where, well, I think for a long time, I definitely worked out of like a sadder place. When I was writing, when I would write songs or when I would write different things or just paint, it was more like on a sadder level, like most of my writing. But now I'm learning how to translate because I'm like, I don't want to be sad all the time. Like in order for me to create, And then I realized, like, well, Danielle, you create even when you're happy, but you just create different things when you're happy. Yeah. So that's why I'm just like, I'm trying to learn how to kind of take all of my experiences and all of my thoughts and just trying to make it consistent, because I know for a fact when I'm creating, I'm the happiest. Like, I know I'm happy when I'm creating, even if I'm in a sad mood. The fact that I created something out of it, that's when I'm like, oh man, Danielle, like, you're doing a great job over here.
Right.
You know,
like, for instance, for me, I use my creativity as a way of escape. And just because I wasn't in the best environment at the time, or I didn't want to be there, I wanted to make something that would make me want to be in my own reality. And I'm not saying like that's an imaginary place or imaginary thing. It's just that I was going to make a space for myself that I knew that I could accept myself in the way that it needed to be expressed. And you know, it doesn't even matter if people were receiving of it or not. You just have to go and make a way for yourself. And if people decide to follow, then you know, it is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, and people will follow. And even if, honestly, even if it's just a couple people, man, that's better than thousands. Man, you get headaches the more people follow you, and more people have expectations of what you're supposed to do and all this stuff. The real thing is that every human being is an artist, and we all make art. But we scrutinize our own art. Like, a lot of people will just be like, I'm not that. I'm somebody who just wakes up and goes to work, and then I come home, and then I get high, and then I do what I got to do by the law or what the government is telling me to do, like raise my kids, cook dinner, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Not that the government is making you cook dinner, but you know, but it's like, yo, you do what you got to do, and then you're making art in your mind, and then you're just hoping you can find somebody else to represent the art for you. Like, for example, like, I see on Facebook, half the people I follow just like post other people's quotes.
Right.
That's the laziest shit I've ever seen in my life. Yo, make up your own quotes. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I like this quote, so it's representing for me. And I mean, and that's good sometimes, but some people, there's people on there that only do that. It's like, yo, you have a voice, you have a face, show us something that's going to inspire us. It doesn't always have to be like, I don't feel good about society, so I need to use this person's quote in order to justify how I feel.
Right.
I don't know, but maybe that's a part of their art, like found art. You know what I mean? To find art and then to claim it as your own is art. Also, I mean, hip hop is based on that, and shit, everything that you watch, TV show, movie wise, is all kind of stolen or celebrating someone else's art too. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of originality out there.
It's the greatest form of flattery.
Yeah. But I think too, I feel like a lot of people just, I don't know, maybe people don't know how to express themselves anymore.
No,
because
people are scared.
Well, yeah. Okay.
They're scared.
They're afraid that they will offend somebody, and they're also just afraid that they're going to be torn apart because they put a comma in the wrong place, or they misspelled something, or they had a feeling about something and they posted it, and then they find out that people don't like their feeling about something.
Right.
Like, yo, that will paralyze you. That'll take you out of the game. Like, I've gotten off social media just for having the thought before I even posted something. I'm like, I'm about to get canceled or murdered. So I'm just gonna get off social media for having this, because I shouldn't be social with my media right now. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing.
You know
like,
what?
Like my weird. Instagram.
Yeah, it's weird because I used to be like that. Like, I feel like now I'm more kind of like, whatever, I don't really care anymore about how other people perceive me or how other people think. It's just more of like, this is what I'm doing. You can like it if you don't like it, whatever. I don't care. Like, that's more of that at this point.
But that takes a lot of strength. That takes a lot of strength within itself to be able to, like, you know what, I'm gonna step out on my own accord and push this without the backing of anyone, just because I know that this needs to be said. And, you know, a lot of people are so, like you said, worried about what other people are going to say about them, and they kind of trip themselves up. So if they do go and post something, it's all half-hearted. It's like, well, this is what I meant to say, but this isn't completely what I meant to say, because the trolls and the haters are going to be like, blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah, and it's almost like we trying to win people over. Like when we post anything, I mean, like first and foremost, everybody on social media cares what people think, or they wouldn't be there.
Yeah, definitely.
I
Yeah.
know a lot of people, including people in our family, they're not on social media. Very
Right.
happy people, and
Right.
they don't give a fuck. And good for them,
Right.
because like they're like, I have enough friends. You know what I mean? They
Right.
don't
Right.
need that. But I'll be on there and I'm trying to like win people over so they'll listen to my music. And I'm
Right.
just like, I don't know even know if they're gonna even like my music, because I make experimental music. And people got a lot of questions as to why I chose to do whatever. And it's just like, and that's fine, and that's good. But I guess at the end of the day, it's like we do care, but at the same time, we got to be okay with the answers that we give, and the art that we make, even if it's going to hurt somebody's feelings or something like that. It's not like we're out here to hurt. I think a lot of people are out here trying to hurt people, and they make a business
Yes.
of it. And we're out here trying to swerve away from those people or win them over. You know, it's almost like we want to say something to make them happy. And if one of those people actually like gives us a like or a thumbs up or something, and we're like, whew, all right, cool. You know, this person normally has something bad to say about things, and they're not saying it about me, so I feel like I'm winning. You know, like people's going through that kind of thing too. It's a lot
I agree with that. I just think that in my head though, where I'm at, I guess in my headspace, I don't really necessarily, when I say I don't really necessarily care what people think, I mean, I'm talking about people who even know me, or people who have like a certain aspect of like who they think I'm supposed to be. Like that's where I'm just kind of like, this isn't where I'm not that person anymore. I'm a different person here, and I'm always going to be changing. So if you don't like what I'm posting, then you can feel free to unfollow. But at the same time, I'm also believe I'm going to find my people. I might not have found them yet, but that's what I'm posting, like hoping like, well, somebody's going to appreciate this and somebody's going to like it. And it might not be the people who I think should like it, but it might be somebody totally different that I wasn't even expecting to like it. Or because I mean, that's happened to me now, where I have people messaging me and like, hey, I listened to your podcast. I'm like, you listen to it? Like, I never expected for them to listen to it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it's just kind of like from there, I think I'm just at a point where I'm gonna find my people. I'm not even concerned about who I know now who might not listen to it or might not like what I have to say. Now it's just like whoever is going to be for me is going to be for me. And that's what I like about the social media aspect of it. But you're right, we all are kind of like looking for
that sense of
validation. But I think we also have to know enough where it's like, okay, my stuff is good on its own. I just got to find the right people for it.
You don't want to let the wrong people dictate your moves, because that's how you like, it's just not worth it. It's wasted energy.
So since we're talking about that, I wanted to ask, like, do you feel like there are times where you're misunderstood as an artist?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm misunderstood all the time, because, and I do that to myself, because like I don't know how to have a conversation with people without speaking from the point of view of two different people, and that's messed up. And I need to learn how to like say less and really stick to my point, because I'm a very understanding person. So sometimes I'll say something and immediately I'll backtrack. I'll just be like, but now I'm having a conversation with myself. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I mean, like it could be as easy as, oh, you should learn how to play the guitar. Like you should go and take guitar lessons and really learn how to read the music. And I'm just like, but this person over there, they didn't do that and they're killing it. Like, you know, maybe you don't have to learn how to, you know, like I'm like that kind of person. People can't stand that guy. And I don't blame them I don't blame people for not really liking a person like that. But I am that kind of person.
You sound like me, because like I can see, I only do that because I can see both sides. I'm like, okay, well, you did make a good point. And I do agree with my point, but I can also understand, you know, maybe you don't. Maybe I shouldn't be so staunch in what I'm saying. But I'm glad that you brought that to my attention. But does that, having that misunderstanding, does that necessarily make you, like, does it feel like a deterrent from you being creative at any point in time? Or
it used to. It used to, but then I learned how to work with it in order to make my creative shit happen. Like, for example, so I'm making a lot of music. So I said, okay, I'm indecisive, and how can I represent that in the music? That's why I call the music experimental, because I can't really choose a genre, because as soon as I do, I throw it out to people who I think are gonna like it, like, and they don't. They're like, this isn't. You said it was R&B. This ain't R&B though, and I'm like, well, yeah, it is, but I mean, maybe it's not, like that kind of thing. And then so I don't even know like what it is, and I'm trying to like listen to them because I'm thinking they're the authority, because I'm like, yo, these people, they listen to the music. It's up to them. It's on them, and I'm trying to make music for people. I spent pretty much all of this time trying to be a recording artist. I'm trying to make music that I think people are going to like. And I just came up short most of the time. And I realized that people weren't liking it. And I wasn't truly liking I wasn't liking the music that I was making 100% either. It was more so that I was trying to make it in order to win some people over. And maybe people could feel that energy. So now, as of my birthday this year, that's why I'm calling this album that I'm making 2 + 19 = 22. It's February 19th, 2022. I said, from this point on, I do want people to like my music, but the music I'm making is for me only.
Yes.
Like,
yes,
everything that I'm making is stuff that I can play on repeat for myself.
right.
You know what I mean? And it's not, I don't get, I wanted to make stuff that I like based on the artists that I like and the genres of music that I like. So I'm just hoping that people will join me on the experience, but if they don't, then that's okay too, because at least I got music for me. You know
I
what I mean?
understand that. I understand that.
There's
that's what
nothing
you
wrong
got to
with
do.
that.
Cause I had a hard time, I talk about this a lot. Like one thing was when I was growing up, I liked doing art, I liked doing music, and I liked writing, but I always kind of was told I had to pick one. And that would drive me crazy, because it was just like, well,
Don't put me in a box.
I feel like doing art right now, but then there are times where I don't feel like doing art and I just want to work on music, or there are times where I just want to write stories. And it was kind of like, well, how do I make this work? Like, I feel like if I leave one, I can't do the other, like, and then I want to say 2020, that's when I was like, you know what? I'm gonna figure out how to put this all together. Like, I have to find a way to put it all together, because that's why I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna go by. That's when I started like just going by Creative Lady Faye instead of like
The artist from
or artist.
Yeah.
It was just like I can't just draw all the time. I can't just do that. I do a lot of stuff, and it's all encompassed. Like, one really influences the other. It's not just like one thing or whatever. So now I've really been working on projects where I can incorporate all of it together, and I can't be told, well, people can tell me you should pick one, but I'm not gonna. I just refuse to.
I feel like the way that you do it, you make it more of an immersive experience.
Yes. So that's what I say. I'm an immersive artist. That's what I'm saying. I'm a nurturing creative, and I try to make everything an immersive experience, because I can't just do one without
like
the
your
other.
Artistry is very like different, multi-dimensional.
Yeah, like I like to tell stories, and if people ask me about any piece I do, I'm like, I can tell you the story behind it, and it's
and then
not
even when you tell the story, it's in a creative way.
Yeah,
it promotes an emotional experience, making it immersive.
So that's why I was like, I had to learn how to do that. So that's one thing that I really had to work on it for myself. But when it comes to like you said, just like picking what you are, I think you have to figure out for yourself, and then just decide that I don't feel like anybody can tell you what you are. You just gotta like,
you are what you are.
I mean, people can say like, hey, that doesn't sound like R&B to me. It sounds more like this. And you can say noted. Okay, cool. And then add it to your repertoire. But to be just like, I don't know. I try not to let other people define me so much anymore. I just try to like define myself. And then if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't,
Yo, I got messed up by the whole thing because of the idea of being business professional. The idea of being business professional messed me up, because I was like, I'm back to just being not business professional. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I will have my website, and I will have my social media. And that's the other thing. Website versus social media, another thing that messed me up. If you just focus on your website and all the ways to make your website pop off by yourself, then you can be the artist that you're meant to be, because you got to design that website. You're responsible for the art, the design, the layout, whatever music that you choose, whether you make it or not. All that stuff is you for the website. Social media, you can do a quarter of that and it's already laid out there for you. But social media is for lazy people. It's lazy. You know what I mean? It's like you jump on, you can see what people's doing real quick, and then you go back to work. And it's not even as bad being lazy. It's just that sometimes you got to focus your energy on being a parent or working, doing other stuff. So, to have a website like Instagram or Facebook or something like that, where you can go and you get your news quick, you can have a quick laugh and check on friends quick. That's great. But when people want to go and do that deep dive on your artistry, that's whenever you really got to show and prove for yourself. And that's whenever like that website becomes important. And that's why I'm working on my website right now, because I'm only just now realizing the importance of the whole thing and how distracting social media can be versus having the website, because the website is for the business professional, but you can't submit to it in a way that's going to change you. You can't submit to it in a way that's going to change you as an artist, because if you're really that type of artist, you're never going to be great with the business professional, or you're never going to be the best business person. You might need help to do it. There's like not a fine line. There's a way that you can make it all work for yourself, and a couple artists have mastered this, but not many. That's why most people have a team, and you got people that do the focus groups. Like one person focuses on public relations and somebody else focuses on songwriting, and whatever, vice versa, whatever, or whatever it is. But I think that if you're creative, if you feel like you need to draw a picture and you want to get good at drawing pictures and you're going to post that as a part of you, then you should roll with it. And if watching TV and critiquing a show is a part of you, then that's also your art. It could be anything. If cooking, if you bake cakes on Saturday and you're just like, yo, I'm all about my cakes, they're delicious, whatever, I want to share it with the world. That's a part of your art too. And we have to start accepting all of that as artists and adding all of that to our thing. And then really saying, I'm going to have a website the way that whoever created Instagram made this website that all these people can jump on. I'm just going to have a site for me, because all your favorite artists that's famous, they all got their own web page, their own website. Real, even if ain't really nothing going on there, they still got it. And that's how we have to view it for ourselves as well. And I'm only really just now coming to accept that, because I spent a lot of time on Facebook, on MySpace, and that was my world. And then Facebook came, and then I was a Facebook guy. And then it was Instagram, and it was just like, yo, I'm living vicariously like through these social media sites. And I wasn't really recording music. It was just like, do the social media, do a live show, social media live show. And that was like my whole life. But there's all this other stuff that's going on that you could take advantage of in order to make more of your visions come to life and more of your dreams come true.
Right. And I have a question for you. And speaking of that, like, do you feel like there's ever a time you wanted to just quit being creative or doing what you're doing?
No, I mean, there was a couple times that I wanted to like die, you know what I mean? And that would be the way out of being the creative. But there was always something that kept me here. And I was like, and then I would just write a song about wanting to die, or draw a picture that displays me dying or someone else dying or whatever. And just all we got is the fact that we're alive and the fact that we're going to die. That's all we got. Everything else is just a distraction. It's a distraction. You know what I mean? So let's make art out of all the distractions. So like, if you listen to my music, I'm constantly talking about my relationship with Jesus, my relationship with food, with like just general happiness versus sadness, and then my relationship with people as a society, you know what I mean? And I think that I write songs like that because it's therapeutic and it's fun for me. Even the sad songs, they're fun for me, and and I try to make some things that I could perform live too.
Mhm.
But like that's a part of my art, and I can't even imagine not doing this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because my life would be so boring if I didn't make art. My life would truly be boring, and I think that everyone's life would be boring without it. Because
Right.
even like if you go to the mall and you see some fly kicks and you want to get them, you're gonna wear them with an outfit. You just made that outfit. That's your art. You know what I mean?
Right.
Every little thing is art. So it's like the more we embrace that, the faster we embrace that, the happier that we're gonna be as artists, even though we don't all have to claim that we're artists or whatever, but we
Right.
are
Right.
in a lot of ways artists. And I don't think that it's something that that we even have a choice. Like we can't stop doing it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
I know for
Right.
me, I can never stop doing this. And I may want to sometimes because it just seems like too much work sometimes. Like when I'm recording,
Yes.
I'm like, yo, man, I should give this to somebody else. But I know that I've always wanted to be able to record my own music, and it meant so
Right.
much to me that I could do it myself. So now my next thing is like actually being able to like podcast. I'm scared to death to give my review of a television show or a movie because I'm afraid that like I'm gonna fail at it, or somebody ain't gonna like my review, or that I'm gonna hurt somebody's feelings by really giving my honest opinion. You know what I mean? Like, so that's my next hurdle,
People are gonna
because like
love that.
I respect it. I
People are
respect
gonna
the fact
love
that
that
y'all are
though.
doing a podcast. I want to do that, you know?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
You know
you.
what? We just do the best we can.
Yeah.
Honestly, this came up how many years ago?
3.
Yeah, it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
She actually wanted to do it. She wanted to do YouTube. And
She wasn't big on the video.
I didn't want to do video. I didn't want to do anything like that. I was just like, I don't like seeing myself recorded. I don't like pictures
So
of myself. I don't like any of that.
We compromised with just doing the audio and, you know, taking baby steps from there. And then once we got our feet wet and people dictating us constantly, we want to see your face.
See your face. Let's see your face. And then I was like, all right, I gotta get out of my.
But that's
I gotta get out of my
that's a part of the
comfort
story.
zone.
Mm-hmm.
That's a part
And
of the story.
yeah,
People do want to see you because like people, especially like people, they'll relate to you based on how you look, how you
Mhm.
sound, and then the things you say. And there's going to be people that relate that don't look like you and don't sound like you and all that stuff. And people want that. They want that wide variety because they need to know that like your views on salads could be the same views as them. Or like, how do you feel about shopping at Whole Foods versus the idea that you're going to sit in a movie theater and watch a movie during this COVID stuff? Like, you know,
right.
it could be anything that you talk about. But yeah, people do care and they do want to know, and they don't always. It doesn't like when you're on YouTube, you see that everybody's trying to do the same thing. The lighting got to be a certain way, their green screen got to be right, and all this stuff.
Right.
And I appreciate that that I appreciate the fact that people are doing it that way because they want that high production value. But there's other styles to doing this too, and it's just like I said, this is more of me thinking in the present day, you know, like March or spring of 2022 about all this stuff, because I was too like, all right, you know, I'll do the podcast as soon as I get that light right. I mean, I got to figure out how to do the lights. All right, now I got to make sure I got the right camera. All right, now I got to make sure that lens is right, and then the autofocus. You know, I got to watch like 4 more videos. You know,
and if you wait that long, it's never gonna get done. And that's the thing I had.
You'll be gray. You'll be gray by the time you start.
Right.
And that was the thing that I struggled with, because, and that's one thing I still struggle with as a creative now, is like, I feel like I have to have everything perfect before I can actually do something. And I had to break that habit, because it's just like, let me stop. And that I had to even talk to myself about this the other day, even like with my weight loss, right? So that was always a thing. I always said, well, when I get smaller, I'm going to do this. When I get smaller, I'm going to do that. And I'm just like, why am I waiting?
Yeah.
Until what if I never do?
I was gonna say,
like, you know, what if that never happens?
Don't stand in your own way.
So then I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna start doing stuff. And when I started doing stuff, that's when I feel like I started seeing more results. And it's just like, it's a learning experience.
That's like, so that's my end of it. Cause like when I go and do stuff, even when I might not know the full plan about it, I already know in my head that it's gonna be great and that it is great. So I act as if it is great, and that's just what shows. And then people
Love
like,
that. That's
how did
mine to
you do
remember.
that? How'd you? I'm like, I don't know.
And that's kind of how we work, because she's more of like a
I just gotta jump
in, and I'm more of like a thinker. So
someone's gonna catch me.
so with us, like kind of like
I hope they
combining,
got
that's how
that
we
net.
bounce off. Yeah, that's how we make a good dynamic. So I have a question for you. Okay, so this is a fill in the blank thing. Being a creative is a blank experience.
What does that mean to you?
Being a creative is a fun experience. It really is, because like even the sad times, the hard times, all that stuff, there's always, you can flip the way you think about it and turn it into fun. Like I'm having so much fun now with everything that I'm doing. And these are the days where it's supposed to be the hardest. I'm in Germany. I'm a Pittsburgher with a Pittsburgh accent in Germany right now. Can't speak the language, trying to learn. I got to go to class. You know what I mean? I'm a new father at 45 years old with a 1-year-old who got crazy energy. So I got to have crazy energy. So I don't hardly drink anymore. I try to eat very healthy. I'm like mostly organic food now. You know what I mean? Like,
Congratulations.
I just didn't say thank you. I appreciate it. But it's just like, when I think about my life 10 years ago, if you would have told me that I would be doing all this now, I'd be like, you're crazy. That's impossible. It's too hard. There's no way that I'd be able to. No, there's just no way. But now that I'm doing it, it's like, it is possible. Things are possible. I can mix music now. I can do, like, any sample I want to use, I know how to find it. I can flip it. I can rap over it. I can sing over it. I can make vocal harmonies with myself. If I want to do It So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday, I can do it by myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Great. I can call anybody I ever worked with and be like, yo, could you put a verse on this and just we transfer it to me? Like, we live in that day and age now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm on some like body preservation type stuff, because I'm like, yo, I partied 20 years. You know, I spent in bars and clubs and, you know, like going to jam sessions, open mics, and doing shows and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, you know, the other side of that game is being a recording artist and being a parent and being somebody who, you know, is trying to find that way to make things work within a family structure and all that stuff. I used to be kind of anti all that. I didn't think any of it could work. I didn't think that a marriage could work, having kids. I was just like, yo, you have a kid, he's just gonna end up being your enemy later, you know, like all that stuff. I was really believing all that. But then I'm just like, but there's this whole other side of things, and that's just rooted in fun. Like, for real. You can have fun with everything. You can make fun of yourself, make fun of other people, do all that stuff with a loving heart, and it's fun. And so many mean-hearted people is out here ruining it, that we can't even have stand-up comedy anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and then you got all these people out here crying, talking about cancel culture and all this shit. I'm like, yo, all y'all created this. Y'all all fed this monster that now it's like you've put all this stuff in boxes, whatever. And you got people like me don't even really know the difference of all of it, because I'm over here just trying to find the fun in everything. And or the positivity. Life is just too short to really be spending it all down and depressed. I had years of being depressed. It ain't fun. You know what I mean? You end up getting stomach ulcers and all this stuff. You worrying all the time. You know what I mean? It's just like, what are you doing? And it's like, one of the things I definitely took from church, one of my deacons said, you know, and I believe this to this day, and I'm not the most religious person, but I am like someone who prays, and I'll tell you what, this is the realest shit ever, is like, if you worry at all, you don't believe in God. Because,
that's right.
Do you know what I mean? Because if you worry, like, how can you worry if you truly believe in God and you truly believe that you're gonna get that money, you're gonna have a place to live, you're gonna eat the food that you want, you're gonna have the friends you want, all that stuff. If you truly believe that that's gonna happen, it will. You can't worry about it. You just gotta work towards it. If you take one step, he'll take two. There ain't no limit to what God can do. It's all in the lyrics. You know what I'm saying? It's all in the song lyrics. I'm not talking about the Bible lyrics. I'm talking about the songs, those hymnal songs. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta have faith.
That's the real truth, is in the hymnal songs, the rhymes that we all love the rhymes. That's where it's all. That's what the simple truths that we're supposed to be living in life. That's what it's all about.
You're so right. And I think that's very true. And you know what I was just thinking about too, because our family was very creative. Our family was always
creative. It's a creative.
Yeah,
they're all painters.
Yes, all of them. Like your brother, and then Aunt Mary, your mom. She those costume designs. Oh my gosh, I used to love that. Like, and when she would draw stuff for us real quick just so we could color it, I used to love all that. And
I'm looking forward to doing that with my son. Yeah, those are the days, man.
Those are like, and we grew up in that environment where there's always something. You know, grandma would be sewing, like making outfits in the dining room and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's just like we grew up around it. But then at the same time, I was wondering for this, did you feel like, as creative as we were we not really that supportive of each other's like creativity, like family wise?
No, I think that we were. I think the cousins were. I don't think that the aunts and uncles were. I don't think they were supportive. They weren't supportive enough. I mean, that's for real. They weren't supportive enough. Everybody got a special case or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's just like everybody, you have to work along to their special case. And that's actually really good, because there's a beauty in that, because then everybody has an individuality that they end up taking with them everywhere that they go. And there is strength in that. So I'm not hating on that at all. Right. But I just feel like there's a lot of things that could have been supported more so, as far as like for the fact that we are all artists and all that stuff. Like, but then as I say that, here I go again, you know, with that whole thing, we were supported, because I've had many conversations with my aunts and uncles about what I did and all that stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know about everyone else's story in the family, like, and if they felt like that, because I feel like sometimes they don't feel like that. But like, I know for myself, I definitely had support, but I feel like I feel like there could have been some more, of course. And I also feel like for as many grandkids as there were, we all could have done a better job. But it's like, you have different people at different age groups, and how many hours are in a day. People got to go to work and they got to do what they got to do. You got sickness, you have, people trying to better themselves. So it's like, I can't even be judgmental on the whole thing. Right. I just wish, I wish that we could have had a little bit more understanding to mental health. That's for sure. Yes. Mental health. Because like I noticed that my mom had some mental health issues, and we had mad people in our family, and just friends of mine, just people had mental health issues, and I had my own, and I wore mine on my shirt. I was like, yo, I know that I have a multiple personality thing going on. And I know that like I suffer from a little bit of mania. You know what I mean? I'm aware of my stuff, and I talk about it in my music, and I make jokes about it. And I felt like, because I made jokes about it and things like that, it was almost like ammunition for like my older brother to make a joke that might upset me or make me feel uncomfortable or something like that. You know what I mean? Right. And those things definitely did happen. And I've definitely made jokes on other people where it's like, yo, I don't know if that's going to make them feel some kind of way that I said that, but I'm just making a joke, and they should understand that it's a joke. But meanwhile, I probably just really hurt somebody's feelings, and I wasn't being sensitive enough to that. And I think that maybe we should have been more sensitive to those things as a family. And I think that this goes across the board in families in general. You know what I'm saying? I think that just now people are coming to terms with the fact that you have people in your family that are not like they're not similar. They don't vote for the same people, and they don't eat the same food, and they don't do the same things, but they still are forced to come together on Thanksgiving, and they're forced to talk about it. Right. What's going on? How you doing? I haven't seen you in a year. What's up? What do you do? What's going on? And people, they try to find that middle ground in that sports team, but you can't just
Right.
talk about sports the whole time.
No,
You know what I mean?
needs work.
But yeah, I agree with you on
Gotta
the whole
work.
mental health thing.
Yeah.
I agree with you because I think there's a lot of things that needed to be addressed mental health wise, but it was something that was never talked about.
It's a
And
stigma.
it wasn't until I started, like, you know, when you were talking about how you were going through depression and stuff like that, I went through depression for years. Like there were points where I couldn't even get out of bed. And it was just kind of like really hard because I didn't feel like I had anybody to really talk to about it, because it was just something like we didn't talk about it. Who talked about like like that's just stuff that didn't happen. So those years when I realized like I wanted to be better for myself, that's when I was like, okay, let me start working on that. And when I started working on that, I really started to see a difference. And I think for me personally, when I started realizing how many issues I was having, it started making me more compassionate for some of our family members and some of the things that I didn't understand when we were growing up. But now I'm like, okay, well, I think there could have been, if I had known what I know now, there might have been like some things where it could have happened differently. But you know, no matter what, for me personally, I love everybody. I love everybody who's willing to talk to me. I don't care. Like it doesn't bother me.
Even the ones that don't want to talk, even the one, look, in our family, even the ones that don't really want to talk to each other, whatever, I personally have talked to everybody, except for maybe two who don't talk to nobody. But I will have a conversation with each and every person in our family. I do love each and every one of them. I don't judge nobody on nothing. All I ever really wanted was for us to have a little bit more understanding as far as like what we go through, and like, because like for myself, I know that I ain't never gonna do nothing else but this music and something art related, and I don't want to feel like I'm pissing somebody off or boring somebody because that's all I'm going to talk about. You know what I mean? And because I welcome people talking about what they live. Like if you live that life where you're in the kitchen most of the time, will you please share them recipes with me? Like, please share your life with me.
Yes.
And that's all I want. Like, you know what I mean? Because I think a lot of us is kind of ashamed to be who we are. And we're also ashamed of our shortcomings, when those shortcomings is what makes us who we are. And it gives us our personality, and it gives us our vulnerability and all that stuff. And I feel like, if we weren't close to some level of perfection that we had created in our own minds, it's like we didn't even really want to show up for ourselves or other people. You know what I mean? And that goes beyond family. That affects our work, school, everything. You know what I mean? And it had me messed up for a long time, and I would come in and out of it. I would be like, all right, I'm feeling myself right now. I'm all good. It's gonna be fine. And then I would go back to this dark place where I'm just like, all right, nobody likes me. I don't know why. I wish I was different. And then, I get back, like I'll feel that way. And then I'll go to the bathroom, look in the mirror after I wash my face. And then I'll start thinking of some song I like. And then I'll just go into the YouTube rabbit hole, watch a bunch of videos, watch a couple video essays, whatever. Then I find myself just back. And then as time went on, I realized that watching a couple video essays and a couple music videos just brought me back. So I just said, why not just do that every hour then?
Right.
Every hour. I just make sure that I'm on point like that. So now I because I did that, I got to a positive place. And now I'm finally getting to a point where I can start to walk backwards and try to fix all the things that I messed up along my path.
Right.
You know
right.
what I mean?
And I feel like it's never too late. It's never too late to as long as you're still breathing and you're still alive, I feel like it's never too late to I don't want to reinvent yourself, but I want to say like find yourself again. I guess that's the best way to put it, like to find yourself again.
Like when she was mentioning earlier about like sometimes there were times that he felt like he wanted to just die. Maybe it wasn't necessarily in a physical sense. Maybe it was just a part of you that just needed to die at that moment for you to reemerge and create something that you never would have created before. Another version of your art.
It's true.
Yeah.
I used to think that it was the physical death. I was like, I need to kill myself. Like, then I'll be all right, because then I can just be in ghost form or whatever. It's just like, is that true? Is it science fiction? What's going on with that? I don't know. But then you know, you have to think to yourself, you're already in a space. Like you're already like, if you just say, all right, I'm just gonna focus on me just real quick, and then you just watch something that makes you laugh, you got to remember that everybody can be on that tip. And don't it, not everything. If you can do this and you can feel your hands and you can go like this, then maybe it's not that bad, because there is people out there that can't do that. And
Right.
if you got to take it to that level where it's just like, can I stand up? Because there's some people that can't do that. You, that's how you got, if that's where you got to start your happy place, then that's what you got to do. And I'll take it to that level where it's just like, can I yawn without pain? Like you were saying, you had some jaw pain, and like, you know what I mean? All these little things is like, I don't know, because you don't know everybody's struggle. Everybody got a different struggle.
Everybody has a different struggle.
So we need to be compassionate to that struggle. And I try to be, you know, I tried that whole, I don't care, you know, I'm gonna focus on myself. I can't even be like that. Like I was brought up to be in service of people. So I'm just kind of, you know, I have to be in service. It's just what I do.
Right.
And when I'm not in service, I'm always feeling like there's something a little bit wrong. And that's what it is. I'm not in service. So I feel like I'm outside of my own character. So there is something wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's, but not everybody's supposed to be in service of people, but we are a community of people, and we need
Right.
to regard our community whenever it comes down to like everything from the plumbing in our house to like that one pair that's sitting with it, like in the grocer's pair section or whatever. Everything got its own story. We have to like, and I know it might sound stupid, I hope it doesn't, but like it's almost like we have to like, I feel like it sounds stupid, but I'm just like but it's like everything has its own story, and it's like we have to regard that story almost like how there's a Disney or Pixar movie that shows that a parrot can have a personality or what, you know, like whatever. And it's like, you know, it sometimes it got to be like that deep or that whatever, shallow or deep. Either way, they in a lot of ways that could be the same thing if life is represented by the waves of circles. You know, I don't know. We just have to find a way to be happy. Like if I'm going to fill in a blank, I'm going to say fun. I want everything to be fun, even if it's hard. I'm not afraid to have fun now. Like there was times where I felt like having certain fun was what was something that a young person's supposed to do. And I'm just like, wait a minute. And I just realized as of late, I'm like, yo, if I eat a bowl of cereal for dinner 3 nights a week, which I do now. Yes.
It's the best.
Yes.
Night cereal can be like, oh my God, night cereal.
You can do it. You can do it.
You can do it. And you're the adult.
Yeah. Yeah. And it ain't nothing wrong with it.
Nothing.
It ain't nothing wrong with it. Like it used to be like, well, dinner has to be like this 3-course meal, whatever. It's just like, but no, it doesn't. It can be cereal. And I want it to be cereal. So I'm gonna eat a bowl of cereal. And it's been better for me. You know what I mean? It's been better for me. I used to eat like 30 chicken wings. I used to eat 30 chicken wings for dinner with like 4 beers and be like, no, that's a dinner. No. I mean, that can be, but it's like, yo, anything that you do that makes you happy is the right thing to do, because your body's going to tell you how it feels if you listen. And then that's a part of the happiness. And your mind's going to tell you how you feel. That's a part of the happiness. So, you know, if you're listening to the right music, you're doing the right things, you're trying to do things that make people happy. I have said and done things that piss people off over the years, and I tried to act like I didn't care. And now I'm affected every day by it. I think about it, and I'm just like, okay, I do eventually have to call this person, apologize, and try to figure out a way to fix it. But before I do that, I got to make sure that my shit's together, and then the whole cycle starts all over again.
Yeah.
But I know the truth. I know the truth of the whole thing, and I know that I'm trying, you know what I mean? But and it's in a frantic way, because I feel like I don't want to start my shit and I'm talking and everything, and people just be like, yo, I gotta go, you know, I gotta go to work. And I'm just like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
mean?
All right. So here's my last question for you. Okay. Mm-hmm. So as a creative, as an artist, what is something you want people to take away from your art and your skills?
The idea that there's 7 days in a week, and within those 7 days, you got these hours of the day where you do all these things while you're awake in order to distract yourself from the fact that you're going to die. And we celebrate these things. And in my music, I try to provide a lot of different levels of story, from the sample that I used in the music to the bass line that don't match yet it matches. You know what I mean? Like how I approach the storytelling, because I try to write every song to be like a choose your own adventure, all depending on what the word that I used, what it means to you. So it could be like a different type of story for one person than it is for somebody else. So one fucked up story for somebody could be a really, really nice story for somebody else in the vagueness of the lyrics. So I guess at the end of the day, I want people to just take away from my art that there's a lot going on here, and it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to live it, and it's okay to be happy about the fact that maybe you did have a messed up thought about somebody on the bus, but if it made you laugh, then it's okay. You know what I mean? It don't mean that you got to go and like be like, oh, you got a wound there. Let me go ahead and put my finger in that wound. You don't got to do that. Hurt somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, I think that it has to be okay sometimes to find the beauty in the wicked, and we need to, and we have to try to find a way to mix all the best parts of all these years that we're trying to rewrite, and try to find a proper best of for our own lives, and then live by that. You know what I mean? We need a best of. I know I need a best of, and I'm trying to find it. I really am. I'm trying to find my best of, so that way I can
like
continue on. You know what I mean?
I like
we all need a best of, because I feel like we all spend time living our worst of every day. We go through our worst of right before we post, or right before we walk out the door. Everything is our worst of first, and that's where we're building from. But all the people who are happiest, they work from their best of before they leave the house, before they post, before they do whatever they do. It's a best of first, and we need to like adopt that mentality, because that's what Stevie Wonder does. That's what Sting does. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of Lenny Kravitz probably. You know what I mean? Like I look at them people and I'll be like, I bet you they be doing their best of before. Like Jason Mimosa, that dude does his best of before. He ain't thinking about his worst of. You know what I mean? I bet you Lisa Bonet, she probably be doing her worst of real quick. Nah, she might be doing her best of too. I don't even know. I don't really know. No, but like that was my girl back in the day. Come on now. But I mean, she's still my girl. But like, I don't know. Yeah,
what about you, Mel, as an artist or creative? What do you want people to think about you?
I want people to think about me and my creative is that I put myself out here for me and not for anybody else. And it's for anyone to enjoy, for anyone to have an opinion on. And even if our opinions don't match, I just want you to understand that I'm a human and that I exist, and I'm showing what I bring to the table. Take it or leave it. Mic drop.
Yeah. That's good.
For me, I just like the art of storytelling. I like telling stories. I like having that imaginative creative flow. And as Mel had mentioned before, I consider myself to be an immersive artist. So not only am I going to paint a picture, there's going to be a story behind that picture. There might even be a song behind that picture. I just want you to be able to be fully immersed in whatever I'm doing, and know that what I'm giving you is real, raw. It's not pretend. Like everything I am is just going to be honest. I'm not going to pretend about who I am and what I'm not. And that means accepting my good days. That means accepting my bad days. That means, accepting that there are days I don't feel perfect, but there are other days where I feel like I'm the best person in the world and you can't tell me jack. And just know that that's just the flow of life, and it's always going to be like that. I'm not always going to be positive. You can meet me one day and I'm in a really bad mood, but just know that that's not going to be me consistently, and don't keep me in that box. I'm not a person who likes to be boxed in. So
just know claustrophobic too.
Just know that I'm always evolving.
Wait, what would you say about COVID?
He's claustrophobic.
Oh, I thought you said, and she got COVID too. I'm like, well, she got COVID right now.
I'm claustrophobic. But that's
and
all
I'm
I want
claustrophobic with COVID. No, it's like, yeah. That's funny. I wasn't even trying to be funny. I mean, a little bit. I don't know. I love laughing.
You found the fun in
it. But I'll tell you what, that's the reason. But see, what we're all saying that it goes into how I feel about that whole like you gotta live your best real or whatever. Like you gotta have like your best stuff ready to go, because so many people is there to remind you of your worst stuff, even people that don't know you. So you gotta balance it out with your best stuff. So whenever you say, no, I got those moments where I feel like I'm the shit, you really got to lean on those moments, because the more you lean on those moments, the more that you become the shit. And then a year later, you're making more money. You know what I'm saying? You're happier. You get invited more places, all this stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I feel like people that want to hate on your development or whatever, I think it's all lies. I don't think anybody wants to really truly hate on anybody's developments. I think that people just wish that they could have the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if they just come off like haters based on something, and they didn't really mean to be that way. It's just that they are not running a best of for themselves. All they got is their worst stuff.
Right.
And the more that we can speak to them and be like, hey, can you just tell me something that was really good in your life? And then you get them to say it and be like, okay, so that's your best of, that's one of them. Just keep thinking of those things. Run your best of. Whenever you're around me, run your best of real for yourself. So that way, whenever you hang out with me, I can be myself and happy. So that way I don't have to get brought down by the fact that you're running your worst of and I'm running my best of, and we ain't got no balance. That's why a lot of people can't kick it at Thanksgiving. And we're going to make it. We're going to find a way that people can kick it at Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to be at any Thanksgiving, but I'm just saying, because I'm in Germany, there's no Thanksgiving here. But I'm just saying, but I'm just using that as an example, because when people come together for any reason, there needs to be a little bit more celebrating the life and a little bit more like lighthearted talking. Like there ain't nothing wrong with talking about the weather or what you saw on TV and stuff like that, because there's something deeper in that whole thing if you're wise enough to know how to catch it. We don't always have to jump onto the deepest subject. It's like, yo, but how is your son doing in school? I heard. And you're like, nah, man, like, we can build to that. You know what I mean? Everybody's messing up in school. Even the straight A students is messing up in school because they may not have the social life that they're supposed to have. School's supposed to be there to give you a well-rounded life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
So you know, you never know.
Right.
Best of real.
That's so cool.
My answer is best of real for everything. Best of real.
That's my new thing.
I just thought
hashtag best of real.
You know what? We usually do our top 3 takeaways, but I feel like that was so good that we don't even need to. Like, it's totally fine. I'm gonna
you better get 2 more takeaways. You better get 2 more takeaways.
2 more?
We gotta get them takeaways.
Okay. We'll put it in. So
you can't go to a supermarket. You can't go to a restaurant and you're just gonna get that one thing. Like you still gotta get something to drink and a side or something.
Okay.
Little appetizer or a dessert.
I know, right? Okay. All right. I was like, I didn't want to muddle that up.
You're trying to dim your own light over here.
Yeah, don't dim that light. Turn that light on. Turn the light on.
It sounded so perfect to me. But anyway, okay. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'll give my top 3 takeaways of the episode. So for me, everybody's a creative. That's number 1. Number 2, make sure you're having fun whatever you're doing. Like life is not meant to be boring. Paint up the walls, make it color. If people say you can't color on the walls, I say color on them. Color any color you want. Like,
wasn't we doing that at 4 years old? We was 4 years old coloring the walls. Like, come on, we gotta get back to that.
And if you get beat, oh well.
Take the beating. Take the beating.
Right. The last thing I'm gonna say is stay true to you. Stay true to you. Like really figure out who you are as an artist and you define yourself and then tell everybody else who you are. Don't let other people define
for us to
you.
do.
It is.
That's the hardest thing
is.
to do as an artist, though. And that's we don't even talk about it because it's so hard.
Right.
Most people, they won't even, they'll be like, oh, I'm already doing that. Next question. You know what I mean? Like that shit is hard. Because like we gotta look in the mirror, we'd be like, okay, but who am I as an artist for real? Am I my face? You know what I mean? Like I even right now, I'm looking at my image in the camera and everything. And every time I look at myself, I'm just like, man, my face isn't perfect, man. I wish my face could be more perfect. You know what I mean? Because like one of my eyes is bigger than the other one, and I'm just like, yo, I wish I wish that I could fix that. You know what I mean? But then I think about people like Tom York from Radiohead, and I'm like, well, he's killing it, and he's somebody I look up to, and he blinks both of his eyes at a different time. Like he blinks like this, and he's still one of the best musicians in the world. For real. I look up to him, so like I can have one big eye. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but it's just slightly bigger. You know what I mean? Best life. It's a best of real. You gotta laugh at yourself. You know what I mean?
Every day.
Belle, what are your top three?
My top 3 takeaways is definitely to keep the fun at a maximum, because that's what I try to do at an everyday basis. I like to spread the fun. I like to spread the joy, because that's how my creative juices get flowing. Number 2, just because your life changes doesn't necessarily mean that your life needs to end. You just brought to existence a new part of your life that you never thought that would even, happen. And number 3 is enjoy the moments, because the moments make a story, and the story is your own.
Yeah, that's deep, and it's real.
Yep. And Gene, what about you? Yep.
My 3 takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I think all right. So I guess for one, just me correcting myself on the family on the family reflection, because I caught myself because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, man, maybe we didn't get the support that we needed. But then I thought to myself, I'm like, yeah, but there was so much support that was there that maybe we just didn't address. You know what I mean? So that's a takeaway for me, because it reminds me that like as a part of the balance in our lives or in our minds, that we have to go back to those times where people were really trying to talk to us, and we was just kind of like, no, I got this, and weren't even trying to listen to what they had to say. And then they got to a point where they realized that we wasn't trying to hear it, and then they stopped giving us that lesson.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We don't never talk about that shit. That's the real shit. Mm-hmm. That's A. B, yeah, takeaway on that fun. Yeah, I mean, because life is already going to give us stuff that ain't fun. So the fun moments, we really got to relish. Like, I mean, we really got to live in that, because people are going to pass away. Houses will get foreclosed on. Cars will break down. Plumbing will get shut down at the wrong time. And then you flood. Like, don't get a basement flood. That happens. All those things are going to rob you of your happiness and smile. So during those times when the basement ain't flooded and the toilet is flushing and you can do a jumping jack or whatever it is, you know what I mean? That's the happiest times that there ever was. You know what I mean? If you can eat food and you don't get no heartburn, that's the happiest time that there ever was. I know that's right. You got to see that. You got to look at it like that. Mm-hmm. You got to look at every little thing like that, because all those little micro happiness dots or whatever make the big happiness. And if we don't address those little happy moments and we let the big things, like things that ain't even really that big, like you got the late notice for your electricity and they're just reminding you to pay it, or you'll get it shut off, and you just let that ruin your whole weekend. Now you shitting on all your friends. You know what I mean? It's just like, it ain't worth it. We have to run that highlight. That letter.
I definitely got that one.
Yo. And then that'll be in the back of your mind. You don't ever talk about it. And then people be trying to live their best life around you. And you're like, man, you always talking about how great your life is. I want to hear about your life.
Exactly.
You know, like that kind of thing. Meanwhile, we need to be all happy for them. And we can't even do it because they'll shut up as soon as you be like, yo, I am happy for you. I'm living my great life too. And they're like, oh, okay. They don't even want to talk about it anymore. And then it's just ready to just be like, okay, I'm glad your life is great. Can we now make our great memory right now instead of reflecting on, like, you run your own highlight reel in your head while you make a new memory with me right now. You know what I mean? Because that's what we all need to be doing. Because then we all come to the table happy. We don't all need to have that beer right now. Oh, I need to get a drink first. I used to be on that life. Oh, let me get that drink first so that I could be happy with you. You know what I mean? No, man.
Right.
I need to just be happy with you. Let me just be happy with you.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah. So I guess those are my takeaways.
That's
Even
great.
though the fourth one wasn't even a takeaway. Yeah.
Definitely whatever though. But you know what? I really enjoyed having you on. This was actually really fun. This was good. It was a good discussion. We have to do like
agree
a part
to be on
2.
my podcast.
Yes,
agree to be on my podcast.
For sure. So just so you know, you can always find us on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, social media podcast, YouTube at Allegedly Credible. And you can always go directly from the source at allegedlycredible.com. Go message us on under this episode. Let us know what your highlight reel is. We're interested to know. You're the best of you.
Yes.
Let us know. Like I said,
I like
that. You can follow me personally at Creative Lady Faye on Instagram. You can also follow my fitness journey on Instagram at Lady Faye 212.
You can also follow
Definitely
me.
proud about that.
You can follow me on Instagram under mellow_supremo, and make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to all of our social medias and our podcast outlets. And where can we find you, Gene?
I'm at Instagram, Gene Stovall, all together, underscore or underline, whatever that line is. I use it in music for like holding out a note, but and then it says 219. So it's like Gene Stovall, underline whenever you're holding out the note, underscore, whatever it is, 219. Or just type in Gene Stovall X, like small X, Gene Pool, but like GEEN Pool. I just released this song called White Sheep, and I just take this Beatles song called Michelle, I spin it backwards, and then I made a beat off of it, and then I sing about not being able to go to sleep. And I use a Fight Club sample, like a sample from the movie Fight Club at the beginning. It's just pure Gene stuff. I'm on Spotify. Follow me as Gene Stovall X Gene Pool. I'm on Spotify. Bandcamp is very important. Follow me on Bandcamp and buy my record on there. I got volume 1.
We're gonna have a link directly on the website at www.allegedlycredible.com where you can link and where you can click and find all of Gene's music right on there and listen to his Spotify right on there. Please go support his album and his albums. Listen to his past work. Just so you know, my personal favorite is I Wish You Would Call Me. I listen to that just on repeat.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go check out his work, guys. All right. Peace out. We'll see you next week.